Hi, my name is Emma Addick.
And mine is Campbell, and this is the HCP Marionette Podcast.
And today we will be talking about student athletes, more specifically, student athletes with jobs. So to start out, I think we're both going to give a little introduction. So I'm going to go first. My name is Emma Addick, and I'm a rower for OKC River Sport Juniors Association. And I've been rowing for about 6 months now. And I used to work at Chick-fil-A inside Quill Springs Mall. And even though I loved and cherished my job for my academics and mental status and for athletics in general, I was forced to quit my job. So, Campbell?
Same with me. I play soccer, and I have for, I don't even know, since I was 4, and I'm turning 16 soon, so I've been playing for a long time, and I play for the school now. I don't play club anymore, so when I got a job, I already knew that I was going to be able, but I was going to have to quit before a certain point because of soccer, because the school that we go to, we are very advanced, and we have a lot of work, and so trying to balance school, job, and sports is just really difficult.
Yeah, I think I understand that part too. Like, Harding is meant for a charter prep school to prep us for college, and I don't think a day goes by where I don't have homework, whether I choose to do that or not.
Yeah.
I still have homework every day, and since I've started rowing and I'm at practice 6 days a week for at least 2.5 hours every day, it's stressful to think about having a job too, because I would come straight from practice back to my job. And I just don't think that's viable, even though would be more viable for me to have a job, even though I love my sport because of how much college cost. So.
Yeah, I think the same thing. Like, with our school, like, if you, let's say you have job and then a practice, or practice and a job, and you don't have time to do homework, you miss one day, and now you're already behind. And it takes so much work to get back up to that point, because then you just start dropping back and back and back and back, and you have to put in so much work and time that you don't have to get up to that point again where you started dropping down.
I think that it's not even if you miss a day from school just for like I miss school for athletics, like when we travel and stuff, because it's not a school. I mean, they're associated, but it's not actual school sport, and so I miss school for it, and my absence are excused, but I still, when I miss that day, it's like catching up from a week.
Exactly.
For a normal school. Like,
exactly.
The amount of work we do is incredible, and you can see it changes, like, our work ethic and how we're going to do in college.
It really does. I mean, that's the point that they're really looking forward to, which obviously,
I mean,
it's working.
Yeah, it's working.
We're
getting used to having balanced stuff. And, I wrote a previous article over students with jobs, and I think that it's just really important that even though our teachers are hard on us, that they just need to kind of take into account, not cut us some slack necessarily, but to just listen to their students when they're like, well, I didn't have time. Like,
be more understanding.
Yeah, even though we're kids, it doesn't mean that we don't, we have time for everything.
Exactly.
Some of us may sit at home after school and not doing anything, but those student athletes, or those student athletes with jobs don't have that opportunity.
Exactly.
And even people who don't have jobs or aren't athletes, they have other things in their life. Like, maybe they have a sibling they need to take care of, or a parent that they need to take care of, or life circumstances. And I think that teachers are just like, okay, well, focus on your academics. Like, I think to a certain extent that student athletes are pushed over on, like, how much a toll it takes on their mental health. And not to mention how much the sport itself can take a toll, like, not even regarding academics at all. Yeah.
I mean, like, I remember times that, like, I'd have to drive to Tulsa or, like, Arkansas or somewhere, and I'd be doing, like, homework on the way there because I knew I'd get behind, or, like, I'd have to go ask my teachers a day in advance to get the work of that day because I knew how behind I'd get. And it's not all the time, but some of the time you hear the teachers say, well, like, put homework or academic things first, but, like, make them the first priority. But that's hard. That is really hard when you have all the other things, like you said, you might have siblings to take care of or a parent, and, like, it's physically impossible to put that first, and they expect us to.
Yeah, I think that the hard part about it too is also trying to find a mental balance, not even a physical balance, to how you approach being a student athlete or a student with a job or both. Because it can be hard to prioritize homework or to prioritize going to practice. Like, you know how many times you can miss practice? And in a lot of sports, that is unacceptable to miss practice. It's you aren't allowed to do that. When I used to play basketball, I feel like that was forever ago. Only 2 years ago, but when I used to play basketball, it was you cannot miss practice. That was unacceptable. And if you did, you had to run. Doesn't matter if you were sick. Doesn't matter if you had something for school. Rarely ever would they let you get by with that. Like, because I was on academic team, I was on math counts. Like, I was very involved. And so they would rarely let you, like, get away with, I guess, in words, get away from running afterwards.
Yes.
Like a punishment. And I hate that some coaches do that because it's so stupid, because we should come to practice wanting to be there. You know, we don't want to be able to be like, oh, I wish I was at home in bed, I'm tired, I don't want to be here, I don't want to do this.
You want to go to practice.
Yeah,
because you're doing what you love.
Exactly, when it's something that you love. And I think that in the midst of it, that, like I did, that either coaches ruin it, teachers ruin it, mental status does, for your love for the sport. Like, my love for basketball used to be crazy. You know,
Same thing happened to me. Yeah. I mean, I used to play for NYSA Celtic in Norman, and I don't even know how many years I played for. Like, that's where I played since I was 4. And before I moved up here, I decided to quit because the coach that I had was just very unreasonable. Like, he would do the same thing, like, make me or other girls run extra, like, if we missed or we were late just because of school or even traffic or something, like, things that weren't really in our control. And he wasn't, like, understanding whatsoever, and he made me just so drained at the fact of just being there and doing it, to where I lost love for the sport, like, for a little bit of time. Like, I didn't do soccer for 2 years because of it, but now I found, like the school soccer and, like, the girls and Pocock and everything, and, like, it made me fall in love with it again.
Yeah, I think that if you're going to be a student athlete, that it's really important to have good coaches. Even this expands from the time that you start playing that sport, whether it's in YMCA, whether that's in elementary school and it's not that serious, to up to the point where it's, you know, MBA or whatever, into college, or however you want to think about it. It should expand all the way through, because even when you're in college, you're focusing on that type of stuff. And I think that they should be more considerate when it comes, like, they can't shame you for being late for something that's out of your control.
Exactly.
Like, you cannot control traffic. Like you said, it's like they just find reasons to punish you. And I think that if you love a sport, that it shouldn't be about that. And it's really, really hard to find that balance, like I said. And that's why I'm so thankful, like you said, you are for Pocock. I am for my rowing coaches. And I've experienced that very much in my life, where you didn't really get disciplined for stuff. And my coaches, Sarah and Eric Gerke, that just moved here, they are phenomenal when it comes to that. If we tell them we're going to be late because of traffic, it's okay, please drive safe.
That's really good.
It's acceptable, and if you'll be on land for half the time, you know, and you'll get in the boat, but you aren't going to be disciplined for that. You know, you might, if you miss like 2 weeks or something because of family circumstance, you aren't going to get pushed off the team. You aren't going to have to run or anything. You just have to earn back your place.
Exactly.
And so it's not like you're getting, I said, disciplined for things you cannot control. And I think that that's the hardest thing, is that the pressure that we feel as students and as athletes for what is around us, like pressure from our parents to get good grades, pressure from them to succeed in our sport.
Exactly. And it's just so many high expectations.
Exactly.
And you are most definitely forced to just try and meet all of them. There's no, like, you can't meet that. Like, you have to. Yeah, it's not a choice or a decision. It's just what has to happen. Exactly.
So, going along with that, I think that what we should really focus on is the fact that the way that we are treated and we're underrated, I guess, is such a weird term, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
When it comes to that people just don't really think about how hard it is. And
they just invalidate what we do and, like, our feelings and everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard.
Like, oh, you're tired. Like, yeah, I'm tired. You know how much I've done today? It's not, easy and it's not worthwhile at a certain extent, you know, like I'm exhausted. Like, well, you slept last night. Like, yeah, I know I slept.
You slept too, but you're tired.
Yeah, I know. Everybody who sleeps is tired, and so I think that we should just try to focus on that a little bit more. Like, our feelings aren't invalid. And this goes with other stuff too. Like, your feelings aren't invalid because you just haven't done as much as I have. Nobody's are.
Exactly.
And I think especially, like I said, with student athletes, us, that we should really focus on our mental health more.
We should.
And we should, like we did, we prioritized our athletics and our academics over our jobs.
We do.
Because hopefully our athletics and academics can lead us to college for free tuition.
Hopefully.
So we don't have to really worry about the whole money side of it. But others aren't as fortunate as we are to be thinking of that.
That's another thing to think about. I mean, I feel like some kids are forced to make a decision between, like, a lot of kids, like, that I personally know, and just a lot of kids out in the world are forced to get a job to help out family. Or that they have this sport that they love doing, and they're forced to pick which one to do. And so they rely on that sport to go to college, to get a scholarship and everything. And when it gets to the point where they have to decide family or sport, that is so overlooked, because that is such a hard thing to go through and to deal with. And it's just like,
I think it's something that you carry with you for a long time.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's overlooked, the fact that how people's circumstances.
Yes.
Like, okay, people don't think about how much physical activity you put into sports, and how much mental activity you put into school, and how much mental activity you put in overall. Yeah, that night's rest you got, but it's not going to fully fulfill everything. Yeah. So it's like, you start out with this full tank of gas, and then you fill up on Sunday night, and then on Monday a little bit goes by because of your school, and then a little bit more because of practice, and then that sleep doesn't fill back up that tank because it's not the amount of sleep you got Sunday night.
It just holds it there.
Yeah, it just holds it where you're at, and it just keeps dropping that, like, 10% every day, and then by the time it gets to today, Friday, you know, like I told you, I was like,
all drained.
I hope you have excitement for this, because I was exhausted, and I still am, but it's like, I hate how that's overlooked, because when people are like, oh, that's not that important, that I feel like it pushes teens into something that we are already in anyways, is that depression stance. And that's also overlooked, and people don't act like that's such a big deal. I mean, it's more looked at for now, and you know, it's more paid attention to. But I remember when I was in elementary, people used to joke about having depression or wanting to kill themselves, and that is not okay. Kind of trigger warning, but it's not okay. It's unacceptable, because people are allowed to have their feelings, and they're allowed to feel the way they do, and you don't joke about something you don't have.
Exactly.
Because some people aren't as fortunate.
That is a big thing. Like, you cannot joke about something that you don't have. That is, like, really something that's overlooked a lot too. And
I think that we just can't lose sight of what is important, that our mental health, and to me, my mental health above everything is important, because if I lose that, then I lose everything. What else do you have? Yeah, exactly. Because I don't have the sanity to continue school. I don't have the sanity to continue growing. I don't have the sanity to even communicate with others. Exactly. And so you have to realize, when you're talking teachers, when they're talking parents, when they're talking coaches, adults, friends, everybody, they have to realize when they're talking to an athlete, a student, a person with a job that's a student, everybody, that they have that in the back of their mind. Just teenagers in general, they have that in the back of their mind, because that's the way our hormones are working. Exactly. And not like, oh, I don't want to pull your last straw, you know, I don't want this to be your last straw. Don't think about that with everybody. Just think about, don't let you invalidate their feelings.
Yeah, they just don't go there in the first place.
Yeah. And so I also think with athletes that it's really important to focus your physical health also.
It really is.
When I was playing basketball, I thought I rolled my ankle, and I actually had plantar fasciitis, and you probably don't know what that is. But
I do not.
It's basically something, I wear ankle braces, right? It doesn't sound like that big of a deal until you don't go to the doctor for it for a long time, like I did, because every athlete is not going to tell their coach, actually, I can't play today.
I can't play.
That's going to be fine. Like, you know, I'm going to do it anyways. And it pushed, and now I have to wear insoles in every single pair of my shoes. And when it gets bad, I have to ice it. And when the weather changes, I'm like an old person. My hip hurts, my ankle hurts, my shoulder hurts. It's everything. Everything starts cramping. And so I think we have to realize, okay, in my mind, especially my coaches now, they listen to me. They want to know what's wrong. They want to help me. They want me to go to the doctor. And I have to think, okay, is this serious or is it something like it's just aching? I'm sore. Okay, and then I have to pressure that in my mind to think about it, and then I'll talk to my coaches about it. Okay, am I doing something wrong that's making me hurt this way? And I think that a lot of athletes don't do that because they don't want to be looked down on, and so then that causes injuries.
Exactly. I mean, with me, like, I used to, like, force myself to play. I mean, at one point, I was playing on a broken foot.
Yeah.
Because it's the want to not let your team down, but especially your coaches, because of what they maybe have passed on or just scared of what they might think or say. But that's, like, a really big point because even just, like, now, like, with school, like, you're, like, you just don't have it in you and you really just can't do it, but you do it anyways because you don't want to fall back. And that's just, like, a big thing. Like, you have to put your mental health over everything because, like you said, if you don't have that, what else do you have?
Yeah, because losing your mental health, losing your mental sanity, it leads to falling back on your physical health and your physical sanity. And I see everybody, it's such a subject, and I'm not like a vegan, and I eat processed foods too, I do, and I'm not saying I don't or everybody shouldn't. I just think that it's not everybody here. When I stand in line to heat up my food every day, there are 7 or 8 people with cup of noodles, and I'm just like, I know those are not good for you. And, like, I want to tell them, like, I get that sometimes they're good, but they are not good for you.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just, like, the stepping stone, you know? Like,
yes,
it's, like,
exactly.
like, you know how they have those paths laid out? And there's, like, one step here, one rock here, like, all the way to, like, a front door to something. Well, this sidewalk to that front door is the road to depression. And I feel like that's just, like, the first little pebble right there is those dang cup of noodles, because it's like you're sacrificing your physical health again in a way you don't even understand. And when people start to lose their mental health and their physical health, and they have a job especially, they start using that money on stuff that they shouldn't. Whether it's that they're buying coffee every day, or they're buying illegal things every day. Like, it does not matter because it's just, I said, it's another stepping stone in that. And I think that, again, that's something that teachers should look for, because I know a lot of teachers, my mother being one of them, they don't look just for your grades, your academics. They look at you
and that's
as a student. They're there to guide you.
Exactly. There's a handful of teachers at our school that are really like that. And students here, you can hear them talk about it. They really appreciate that type of teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
That type of teacher that if they see you, like, not yourself, they come and ask you what's wrong or ask you if you're having a good day. I mean, that's happened to me multiple times. And just that little thing really just makes you, like, look and think, like, they care. They realize.
There's somebody out there. Who pays attention. And I think that's what a lot of teens feel alone about. Like, people say stuff and they don't mean it. And that they ask if you need help and they don't ever give it to you. And one of those teachers is Miss Taylor herself.
Yes.
And she will literally, every day when we walk in, how's everybody's day going? You know, she wants to know how we all are. From the kids who come in here upset, crying, angry, grabbing their band instruments, whatever they're doing. Or us who come in here and stomp off to the room to work on our articles or whatever. If we don't answer her, she knows that there's something wrong. And she's going to try to find out. She can't really help you, but she said, do you want to talk about it? Do you want to go see the counselor? Do you want to go call a parent? Like, how can I help you? And I think that, like you said, we have a lot of teachers that do that. And I can count at least on a handful right now of those teachers. And that's amazing. That's phenomenal. But not everybody has that. And so that's, like, the purpose of this podcast is to tell everybody, like, you have to make that balance. You have to work on that. Because, like I said on my Students with Jobs article, you have to find the balance between doing homework and getting a good night's rest. Like, there's that balance, again, that you have to face.
You just need that stability and that balance in your life. Like, it is so essential, and people, like, really don't really realize it.
No.
At all.
They don't. And they're like, oh, I'm just flying high with life. Like, no, you're going to downfall. You're going to crash. You're going to make it to that door, and it's going to suck. It's going to be horrible. Be locked. Yeah, it's going to be locked, and you're going to be disappointed. And you just have to realize whether you're the first pebble, the second pebble, the middle rock, or the last one, or you're standing at the door and it's locked, whether you want to try to pick the lock, whether you're going to break the window or the door, or if you're going to turn back around and you're going to come up that path. And I think also in another stance that sports and jobs can help with that. And not to stand on that too long, but it can help bring it together. It can help with the stability, and it can help with your character and how you grow as a person. And like jobs help you for in the future when you're coming to a job and how that works. And sports, just like I said, they help with your physical health, but they can also be a downhill with that. So again, it's just finding the balance, and it's fulfilling it overall, and deciding whether it's worth it. And that's the biggest one.
Yeah, that is a big one. Well, thank you for listening to us, and we hope that all of the student athletes, or just students, or just athletes, find their balance and their purpose and figure it out.
And I hope that none of you guys make it to the door, and I hope that it's not unlocked, and I hope you don't throw a rock in the window. So, but yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, until next time.
Bye.
Bye.